Ashe and grand rising, a grand day to you all. Once again, my fellow humans. Yes, to you, my fellow natural native earthly humans. Ashe and grand rising, a beautiful day to you all, wherever you are. And welcome to this part 11 of this another of my thought-provoking presentations titled Retirement Plan for People 40 to 75. Another perspective with yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And always, as customary, let me remind you, my dearly beloved people, that it is high time for us to think. It is high time for thinking. It is high time for reason and for reasoning. Now, if you haven't yet watched part 1 to part 10, and hopefully in consecutive order, I ask that you please do so before watching this part 11, because by doing so, you'll get a better understanding, and overstanding of the perspectives and ideas and thoughts that I am sharing. Not that you have to agree or may agree with them. It's not about converting you or having you agree with me. It's about sharing my perspective, the way I see, think I know, and observe things. Now, at the end of part 10, I ended part 10 by the last talk by saying, but when it comes to practically and literally caring for, showing honor, love, respect, appreciation, dedication, the real meaning and practical demonstration of the word family, loyalty, maturity, a sense of duty and learning from their parents and elders, and teaching their young the animal that from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective that stands out as number one and way, way, way above us humans today are the animals known as wolves, the wolves. The truth be told, I think that I only came across these facts about wolves as a result of my search and my determination to prove my preconceived, commonly accepted beliefs, which I mentioned earlier, that we humans, and particularly we, the natural native earthly humans, were and are the only animal species among the over 1 million animal species that take care of our parents or that take care of our elders. Now, my interest was further provoked after I watched a short YouTube video that featured wolves and how they cared for both their young ones, also known as their pups, and their parents, their elderly, their elders. Their social order and hierarchy feature, talk about their social order and hierarchy, their disciplined and structured and well-organized life they lived. And that is what started me digging. It impressed me and started me digging. And the more I learn about them, meaning the more I learn about wolves, is the more I went digging to learn more. I began to read anything I could find online that talks about wolves and watch a lot of videos. All the videos that I found, not all, but a lot of videos that I found about wolves. And now I'm so fascinated by wolves, far, far more than I can even express. In fact, I think that I am now more fascinated about learning more about wolves and practicing some of the lessons that I am learning from them than I do or would do from humans. And why? Because humans have let me down badly. Humans have disappointed me, and humans are disappointing me very badly. My expectations of humans conducting themselves and becoming like wolves, let alone superseding the lives of wolves, are extremely low. Right now, at this point, they're extremely low. But that too is another topic for another time. Please stay tuned. By now, reading, studying, and learning about wolves, I very quickly came to the realization, to the knowledge, the understanding and understanding that wolves, unlike humans and humankind alike, are not religious creatures. Wolves are not religious creatures, unlike human and humankind alike. And please let me repeat, wolves are not religious creatures, and nor are they political, tyrannical, deceitful, and superficial creatures like humans and humankind alike. But that they meaning wolves, are purely natural, spiritual, territorial, and ritualistic animals. I also came to the realization that if or when compared to humans and humankind alike, wolves have what may be described as the best, efficient, and most guaranteed old age pension. Or if you prefer, the best, efficient, and most guaranteed retirement plan for their parents and the elderly, their elders. From my perspective, of all the pension plans that I have talked about and discussed with you I can't remember exactly which one, but one of my earlier presentations, none can be compared with that of wolves, especially a plan that comes naturally. I have also come to the realization that wolves have the best and the safest nursery system to rear and take care of their young. And above all, they also have the best health care plan and health care system for them. I have learned that unlike humans, wolves don't have to plan for their individual old age, or if you prefer, their individual retirement security or their health care. But that is automatically planned for them by them just being wolves and by them just belonging to a pack. Now, a family of wolves is called a pack. By the safest nursery system to rear, or prefer to raise and take care of their young, I mean that if or when wolves and the lives that they live and how they conduct themselves and among other animals in their habitat, if or when they are compared to most of us, if not all of us, that are called humans and humankind alike, and the lives that we live and are living among ourselves and among others, and especially those of us that think or believe that we are superior to them, meaning superior to them wolves and to all other animals. Some are supposed to think that we are superior to all other animals. Those of us, or those among us that are religious fanatics, religious heretics, religious proselytes, and religious zealots, etc., that think or believe that God, or more correctly, that their God, also known as the Adamic God, mentioned in the Adamic race history and holy book that is commonly called the Christian Holy Bible, made them in the Adamic God's own image and likeness, thus making them superior and domineering over all, of all things. Let me just quote that doctrine from the Adamic Race History and Holy Book. Then God said, according to the book, then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. And the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground, unquote. And that is according to the Adamic Race History book, Genesis chapter 1, 26 to 28. And I just quote from the New International Version, the NIV. Now, most of you have been listening to me over the years. Have heard me share several different perspectives, interpretation, and insight on that scripture. Now, those of us, or more correctly, those of you and those among us, the natural native earthly humans, who both believe and practice this, therefore mentioned, that I've just called doctrine or teaching, as recorded again there in Genesis chapter 1, 26 to 28. This doctrine or this teaching that I, the mystic philosopher, perceive to be a skewed, overtly racist, and deceptive religious and political ideology. And that this, your racist God, and yes, I said racist God because according to the record and the evidence does show, especially as he manifested himself in and through his chosen people, that he, or that this God, the Adamic God, discriminates. He is prejudiced, and that he does not treat everyone and everything that he has supposedly made or supposedly created equally and fairly, etc. Its evidence is there for those who are not so corrupt and blind to see, according to the record, according to their book. And the only and most appropriate word, because it's not my language, but the only and most appropriate word that I, the mystic philosopher, can think of in this, the English language, that best describes him, Adamic God, and without being an apologist for him or anyone else and those who believe in him, is the word racist. Just check your dictionary and read that again and compare it. Check the English dictionary. So this your, for those who believe in him, this your racist God mentioned here is supposedly the creator and father, or if you prefer, the parent of all things, including all humans, from which he has chosen you to be above all things. He has chosen you to be above all other groups of people on the earth. He has chosen you to be above all other groups of humans and humankind alike. He has elected, or if you prefer chosen, elected and chosen, you to be his chosen ones, also known as his representatives, his ambassadors on the earth. He has chosen to be his what? Chosen vessels. Isn't that what all of you saying? Be a preacher, Christian, whatever. Israelite, Jew, or whatever. Isn't that what you say? He has chosen you to be what? His chosen people. His chosen people, aka his chosen race of people. He has chosen to be his elites. Chosen by who? The Adamic God. Who, if all that I have read and interpret there and elsewhere in the Adamic Race History and Holy Book are indeed true, if at all they are indeed true, it's nothing but a racist God. to be so-called, yes, so you believe and think and practice that he has chosen you to be the head and not the tail, that you should rule over them meaning wolves, talk about wolves now, and all other animals, and everything and everyone else that have life and move upon the earth. That he has chosen you so that you are now at the top of the food chain in the entire animal kingdom, that you are smarter, more intellectually and technologically advanced, etc. You name it or you name them. And with all this, the abundance of facts, this God chosen will deny and are denying that they are indeed supremacists and that they are indeed racists. Some people call themselves a peculiar people as a result of these doctrines. But from the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, if or when you, and by extension, if or when we should all compare ourselves to them, to the wolves, and were we to be honest to ourselves, which is also known as to our own selves be true, then we would and we must have to admit that not only are we ethically corrupt, morally and otherwise inferior to them, and you will see more as I continue, but that we are a gross disgrace to the natural, native, earthly human race, and by extension, the human races, and also for those to whom this may apply, an embarrassment to our righteous source. For example, and as you shall no doubt shortly see and hear, for I will be delving very deeply into this, by the best and most guaranteed old age pension, also known as retirement plan, for their parents and the elderly or their elders, and the best and the safest nursery system in which to raise and take care of their young or their young ones. I mean that there is no elder abuse or elder abuses, be it mentally, disrespectfully, physically, psychologically, emotionally, financially, sexually, or otherwise among them, among wolves. There's no abuses among wolves. There is no abuses or abuse, be it mentally, disrespectfully, physically, psychologically, emotionally, financially, sexually. No rape, no sexual exploitation, no wolves trafficking, no sodomy, no pedophilia, or otherwise among them wolves. You shall shortly see, stay tuned. But more on that shortly. Please, again, I ask that you stay tuned. So how dare you, some of us claiming that we are superior to all other animals and all other people. What audacity and ignorance, stupidity. Now, let me continue to share with you some of what I have found, learned, and is learning about these magnificent and majestic animals called wolves. And hopefully you will both see, understand, and understand why I have become, or why I became so fascinated with them and by them. Now, according to an article on the dailymail.co.uk website, title of the article is "The Wisdom of Wolves. Enchanting new book reveals how they care for their elderly, play with their young, and always put family first." And the article is by one Eli H. Radinger, Radinger. And I quote from the article, and I'll be quoting a lot from this. And I quote, "Scientists who have studied the social systems of wolf packs over many generations all agree that man can, in fact, learn a lot about himself by watching these amazing animals. At first glance, of course, we couldn't be more different, unquote. So there the article started by saying we can learn a lot from these animals. And I agree. Again, I quote from the article. It said, both humans and wolves prioritize family and care for the elderly and strive on harmony and ritual. This becomes even more significant if you compare the fact that even male primates, considered more similar to humans than wolves, don't help feed their young or look after the old. We both appoint leaders and use our individual talents for the good of the family or in our work. It continued, it said, some of us are patient and good listeners. Others are impulsive and take new ideas further. Some are peacemakers and skilled negotiators. When I observe these traits in wolves, I wonder why everything seems to be so much more complicated for us humans. In our modern high-tech age, we are become alienated from nature. Or we have become alienated from nature. We don't even experience darkness and silence anymore. But wolves have taught me, the author speaking, how important family is. To show affection to those we love and to celebrate life, even if only for a brief moment. They have shown me what it means to be a human, unquote. That's from the article. Now, my only two disagreements are the two that I will just highlight here. And I'm sure the author, if he or she happen to listen to my commentary on it, will understand. I'm sure that the author, and most of you may or will understand, is the statement, and I quote, both humans and wolves prioritize family and care for their elderly and strive on harmony and ritual, unquote. There's a lot I could say on that. However, from my perspective, while the evidence shows that all wolves prioritize family and care for their elderly, and they thrive on harmony and ritual, the same cannot be honestly said of most of us, if not all of us humans today, especially today. But more on that as I continue, more on that later. Stay tuned. The second is, and I quote, we both, I'm quoting from the article now, we both appoint leaders and use our individual talents for the good of the family or in our work, unquote. Now, from my perspective, this statement is not altogether true, if at all true. If you don't understand the point that the lady is trying to make, or the author is trying to make. Quite unlike wolves and their real and practical leaders, those people or those humankind that most of us call, in our ignorance, call leaders, and in our ignorance are calling our leaders, are not at all leaders. I covered that elsewhere in another presentation. However, let me repeat it here. They are not at all leaders. In reality, they are cowards. Yes, all these so-called leaders and world leaders and heads of states, they are not but cowards. A bunch of cowards. They are drivers. They are not leading anything. They are drivers, as in slave drivers. They are liars, deceivers. They are mind controllers, as in government. And they're manipulators, etc. And if or when the truth is to be told, nor are they appointed leaders by us, the people. Most people claim to be leaders were not appointed or selected by us. But they appoint or select themselves. From among who? Themselves. From among their elite group. to be what they are and to do what they are doing. They are the ones who elect and appoint themselves. Some of these things called election that people are participating is just a fraud, a scam, a sham. Secondly, the idea that we use our individual talents for the good of the family or in our work is not entirely correct either. Humans are some of the most selfish animals on the planet. And quite unlike wolves, we use our individual talents, our skills, etc., to primarily benefit ourselves. Selfish. You know what I'm talking about. And the very sad truth that I have also discovered is that most of us are far too religious, are far too religiously and politically indoctrinated to know these facts or to admit to them. Most of us can't. I'm pissing off a lot of you guys now. Some of you guys watching and listening to me saying these facts. Some, if not all, of the most systems educated, system schooled, system trained among us do think and believe that these people are real and are real leaders and that they are indeed leaders. Just watch the news and listen to these bright scholars, these bright system trained journalists and others and commentators talk about leaders. But this is them. They believe it. They think so. They think it's true. They will even accuse I, the mystic philosopher, of being an ignoramus for not thinking and believing like them that these, the aforementioned liars and deceivers, are not leaders. When I, the mystic philosopher, tell them that if they really and truly want to get rid of all, as an example, when I, the mystic philosopher, tell them that if they really and truly want to get rid of all the wars that are currently happening all around us today and have perfect peace on earth and goodwill towards all our fellow humans, instead of all these bloodshedding caused by all these unnecessary wars. When I tell them then that we must legislate laws and make it mandatory that all our so-called leaders, all these so-called leaders and leaders of any country, island, state, or people, etc., be the first to literally and physically face off in a battle with their opponents. Yes, you want to get rid of, I'm giving the solution. And definitely not have them send our children or young men and or young women who have not yet lived their lives to sacrifice their lives, or young people sacrificing their lives in the name of God, their God, these leaders, God, king, queen, so-called democracy and patriotism and country, etc., to protect, because they're sacrificing, young people are sacrificing life to protect what? To protect the power and material wealth of these so-called leaders. These are facts. You know how many people come back injured from their wars and are now living on the streets, can't even get health care? They tell me that these will don't be deceived, man. For example, if there is a war, right? If there's a war or conflict occurring, or when there is a war or conflict between, let's say, the United States and China, Russia and the UK, United Kingdom, so-called United Kingdom, Israel and Iran, India and Pakistan, Guyana and Venezuela, Jamaica and Haiti, etc., you name it. Consider a conflict with any two of these countries or the leaders. Then the people that should and must be the first to physically taking up arms, taking up ammunition and violently face off and fight with each other to death or until surrender are the so-called leaders and government members, leaders and the government members, the governing body, the government members of each of these countries, and not the citizens or the subjects. The leaders and the government should be the first. They should be the one out there. The evidence will show and has shown that if or when there is a conflict between wolf packs, these are the same people who think they are superior to wolves and other animals and are acting in the name of their God. But the evidence will show that. And the evidence has shown that if or when there is a conflict between wolf packs, it is the leader of each pack, along with other leaders in the pack, in the group, in the family, that confronts their opponent and not the weaklings among them. The same is true of a pride of lions, as another example. If or when there is a dispute or a conflict between different prides, it is not the female lioness and her young cubs that confronts the intruder or the opposing pride, but it is the lion, the alpha male, aka the leader, that will deal with the matter, while the pride that he leads looks on and hope for his victory. Because if him lose, he's no more a leader. They abandon him. Have to run away. But quite to the contrary, today you will never see or find them meaning these so-called leaders, on the front line of anything or anyone that they falsely and that they are falsely claiming. They falsely claim and are falsely claiming to be leading. You will never see the head of the government, be he or she a president, a prime minister, a king, a queen, a minister of security, you name all the different titles they give themselves. You will never see them at the head or on the front line of a war. And the wars that they themselves have created and in many cases could have avoided, they themselves have created and caused these wars. You will never see or find them holding a rifle while fighting in the hot sun or in the cold winter or in the muddy trenches or shuffling. You'll never see them. You'll never see. Show me one video or one newscast with any of these leaders shuffling between bullets, dodging and hiding between bullets, between mines and bombs, etc. However, you will at all times see and find a leader of a wolf pack leading the charge and at the front line of every battle. So these liars come to deceive people. They are leaders. Leaders what? Can fool some of the people. How it goes? Can fool some of the people. Some of them, I can't fool other people. They can't fool me. Because the same dictionary and the words you give me tell it. And by your action. Leaders where? However, I just realized that I run out of time. The time allotted for this segment. And thus I will have to end this part 11 here. So I ask that you please join me in part 12 for the continuation of, retirement plan for people 40 to 75, another perspective by yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher, and where and when I will pick up on lesson 1, from cradle to the grave, family matters, and this lesson 1, from the article, The Wisdom of Wolves, Enchanting New Book reveals how they care for their elderly, play with their young, and always put family first, by Eli H. Radinja. And this is as I continue talking about the animal called wolves and their relationship with their young, with their parents, with their elders, and how we humans today can possibly learn a lot from them. And also as I continue asking the question, can our children, our spouse, our members of our families, close relatives abandon us and refuse to take care of us when we are old, and especially if or when we are determined by them to be good for nothing or to value nothing? I think that it is going to get even more interesting, possible controversial, if not informative. So please stay tuned. In the meantime and between time, my dear beloved people, in your becoming I will let you be more and much, much more, not less, aka blessed. For I am the mystic philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.